Welcome back to Tomb of Illumination. We're discussing BAPHOMET. Please go back to video 1. You'll be totally lost if you don't. I'm doing a world first and explaining exactly what it all means. You've never heard it before. There's only a certain group of people that understand it, and they're at the top of the Freemason pyramid. My first video ran out, so I have to continue on. So maybe 2 or 3 videos. But we're at the 2-finger salute stage. As above, so below. As above, 3 pointing down or 2 pointing down. As above, so below. These words and the accompanying gesture are familiar to occultists. They are drawn from the ancient works of Hermes Trismegistus, whose writings became popular during the Renaissance and the Reformation. So I recommend you go and read all those Hermetic books. Hermes Trismegistus, pretty straightforward, interpreted well, but a lot more clearer than trying to read the Bible. All the secrets are in there. Hermes Trismegistus. This guy's another. This is a Hermes, along with Krishna, Buddha. He's a Hermes. Horus, Christ. The phrase is also used in relation to science and the universe and God. But Levi wrote that by making the gesture, this BAPHOMET expresses the perfect harmony of mercy and justice. The goat's face has a neutral expression. It's not demonic, ferocious or monstrous, as people make out it to be. If you look at without the cultural baggage, if you look at it without the indoctrination. But the children really have nothing to be afraid of from Satan, says the other person. I don't think children approaching the monument without being primed by propaganda will find anything horrific about it, he says. But we're about not indoctrinating children. For the most part, children are forced into religion. That's something we definitely don't care to do. There's 2 systems here. We've got to lead that way to false indoctrination, governed by that old money box, the honesty box. And over here you have the truth. Somewhere in the middle there's a lot of bullshit, lies and evilness, but stay away from there. So understanding the truth. Your church only tells you so much because they want to control your mind, control you and their money box. Over here's the truth, okay? And it's mostly secret, held by the Freemasons. But there's these, you could say paganists or Satanists or whatever you want to call them. They know their system. They're using their system. They don't fully understand it like the Freemasons or like I'm telling you. But you're about to know all about it. So let's go back to the goat's face. So why is it a goat's face? Does it look evil? Or do goats look evil? They're quite intelligent, goats. Got the horns. Look, there's the horns. But the goat represents Capricorn. What's associated with Capricorn? Saturn. Saint Turn. So this is to do with the zodiac, because this person is born the sun sign Capricorn, or thereabouts, to do with Saturn. But if he's born here in Capricorn, he was conceived. That's a cardinal direction, right? He was conceived at this other cardinal direction, but his divine awakening was over here, in this cardinal direction. So there's 3 quarters, it's missing a quarter. What's the missing quarter? The cornerstone the builders rejected. So basically you go through conception and then gestation for 9 months. You're missing 3 months of that zodiac. The movement of the celestial bodies. The essence, the divine essence that comes into all creation. You're missing that one cornerstone. That's the cornerstone the builders rejected. So in this cornerstone that you rejected, have missed out on, involves minerals or salts. Your body will be lacking those minerals and salts. Santos Benassi talked all about this. He will know which salts and minerals, if you want to ask him. But so this is what you need to find out, what they are. And this awakening season is to do with the Milky Way season. And down here in the southern hemisphere, it's to do with it's September. So, but it all comes about from the diagonal, the saint turns, the solar eclipse. So all these people come about following a solar eclipse. So then you start talking about solar eclipses. Well, what's creating the solar eclipses? Well, it's a trinity, isn't it? It's the sun, the moon, and one of the planets. Planets. Not a planet, it's an orb. It's a wandering star. Earth is the only planet. There's another story to that too. That's the physical planet of ours, which comes from the black hole. But all the other planets or wandering stars are also black holes in their own right. But because they're from creation into our created world where we see the images, they have an image. But you take the light of the sun away, it's left with a black hole. So you need to understand that Earth is from the black hole. Earth's image is from the hole. So the planets have their own images from their black hole. Understand? It's a trick, isn't it? So that's when you go back to the black hole and back to meditation and the place of pure rest and consciousness, understanding perfection that's just fixed and stationary, the stillness within the center vortex of a black hole or a tornado. The place of rest is in the center. There's no action in there. It's fixed and stationary. All the action, the dual action, is around the horizon. So from that black hole comes Earth. Look, it comes out, expressed out in a toroidal field. It's the hyperboloid center. The center of the storm, the center of the hurricane or vortex, the tornado, expressed out, comes out, plonk. Plonk. Then we can delve into the northern and southern hemisphere while we're here. The northern hemisphere is a vision of this, what's happening up here, because this picture's being projected up, what's inside the vortex, up into the northern hemisphere. But in the southern, it comes out and it's inverted, it's upside down. So instead of saying bottom up, we're saying top down. Bottom up, top down. Which is quite funny because I'm following Dr. Shiva in America there, and he's talking about bottoms up, not top down. The evil system, the billionaires and elites are running the whole system. They're never going to help you top down. They're never going to help you. They'll bullshit you from here to eternity. Trump, everybody. He's just on the other side of the coin. He's playing you. It's all acting. The only guy that's going to come up from the bottom is what, basically he's your saviour. And don't be scared off by the words he uses, because he's telling the truth. He's going to use the word fuck. Take it as it is. Because he's speaking the truth. He's trying to raise you all up from the bottom. Bottom up. You'll never get help from the top down. Okay? So where are we? So we've talked about the zodiac Capricorn, right? So the cardinal directions and all that. You've got 3 here and you're missing 1. Same turn. So he's born. This person will be born in Capricorn. Jesus' story, born in Capricorn. Why they keep referring back to March and April and Aries and all that? Because he was conceived, and Antos Benassi keeps telling you about creation begins at March, Aries. Well, He was conceived at March Aries. That's the beginning. That's why you have to understand what your moon sign is at conception. That's your moon sign, conception, not physical birth. You know, right around here to physical birth. That's your sun sign when you come into the light of the world. Okay? And, you know, you've got the wings here representing flight. Flight of the Conchords, yeah. Horus. He's earthly and heavenly. He can fly up and down. He's got the connection between earthly BS and divinity, the divine higher frequencies of creation, God. All information is in the ether. It's a brain. We dwell in this brain, and we're just little offshoots, little mini-me's. So we open our brain to absorb and get the knowledge. It's all out there. Nothing's new under the sun. So the wings represent that bird. Horus, the falcon. You got as above, so below. Coagulate. The soul, or whatever that, I don't know what that is. But it's singularity. You want singularity. Coagulate. He's talking about coming back into singularity. You could say this, the two moons here is the magnetic field of Earth and what comes from above, and you're in between, get the connection to enlighten your, create the electrical system, bingo, boom, because this is how Earth is created. The two forces come together, reach, seek, find equilibrium, and bang, out comes a flat plane of inertia, all life begins. So our world is created from the magnetic field, then created the sun, but you have to think of it as frequency, sound and resonance. Like in a magnetic field, if we find the perfect resonance, there's a bit more to it than that, you will create electrical circuit. But in our physical world we have to try and create the electrical, get the strong magnetic field going. This is like in the tokamak or something. Create that, get that spark, that light there, and then in turn it will create the flowing, changing magnetic field. And once the changing magnetic field starts flowing, it starts feeding back into this electrical circuit. This is how the Earth works. We get the sun moving, which is the electrical current. The moving sun creates the changing magnetic field between the tropics, and the tropics changing magnetic field feeds back into the sun. That's why we have the Milky Way connecting the tropics back into the sun in the Arctic centre. The actual sun, not the sun we see. We just see the image at this end. Everything's all hidden in here. This is creation. All hidden in the black hole. Darkness, nothing. We've come from nothing. This is the place you want to go to when meditating. I'll get into that with another video about sun gazing. Right, the Ketus on the BAPHOMET stomach is an old Greek symbol of two serpents entwined around the staff which was carried by Hermes and heralds in general. The Ketus symbolises trade, which is rubbish. For us it symbolises reconciliation of the opposites. Reconciliation, that's how Earth was created, from the two opposite forces. Science wants to tell you it's gravity and describe it in all these weird ways, but really it's just the two forces of nature coming together, and they're still spinning in the same way, but there's two opposing forces. It's the duality of our existence. So everything involves the two forces of nature. It's what created our whole realm. It would all disappear if we all went back to singularity. It would all be sucked back into the centre, back to something the size of a mustard seed or something, nothing. Okay? As the hyperboloid expresses out, creates a toroidal field. That's the moving ether, constantly moving. It's coming out of the north, over, down here, through the ground thou shalt go, over the field, back down, through the ground, and back up here again. So it's always recycling. The Kadoosh, right? Well, that centre, you could say, I'll get into another video on that too, is the two-sided sword. What is it? Let's put that aside for a minute. So put this as the divine cross. We've got the two snake heads up here. We've got a cross system happening up here. You have to check out my earlier videos about the Earth's recycling system. But it's a Jesus story, dying on the cross, which involves the spirit, a time of the year and the zodiac and everything. When we get the crossing between the tropics of the two different hemispheres, the north and south pole energy field crosses. You've got this crossing here. The solar sun's analemma crosses here, 9 degrees, 6th of September. Well, then you've got the other side, the March side. Okay. There is two systems apart from this one drawing, because in the southern hemisphere we get our own image of a like this is the northern hemisphere depiction this way, but this you need to follow my other videos to understand this. Is quite deep. You've got to think quite deeply. Overall, the earthly image is like this. But to go back to man's arc of horizon, his images are smaller, projected down onto his horizon. That's what curves. His horizon curves. Earth does not curve under it. It's a flat earth. The solid, fixed and stationary earth does not curl down on the horizon. Only your perspective, your arc of man's horizon. So in the northern hemisphere we have an image of this. And in the southern hemisphere we have an image of this analemma. But the both big ends are facing this way towards the tropics. We're led to believe we get this picture in the tropics. So in a way that makes sense, but there's two images. There's two of everything. One in each hemisphere. So this big end is facing towards Cancer in the north, and the big end is facing towards Capricorn in the south. So both hemispheres have this crossing system going on 17 days before the equinox. It's a divine period in all of our existence. The Ketus is the raising of the Kundalini, raising up, elevating consciously from your sacrum. It's coming. That's why Jesus is stapled to the cross. He died on the cross. Here's the cross. He's as in dying, coming out of your summer season into winter. That season's dying. Also, why you have those two thieves on either side of the cross, because those are the thieves taking summer away from the other season. Okay, it's going into winter, down into Hades, you could say. So there's three versions of this crossing story. Okay, there's two of them just there. And the duality of our system. The serpent has always represented the magnetic field of earth and of man. Raising that magnetic field to ignite the electrical circuit. Bang! Create light. His light of man. Look, coming out of the center vortex of creation. This could represent the lotus flower. Opening, going down into water again, up and out. Like the pineal gland coming out of the water. After you've had your flood. After this has happened to you. Legs crossed, representing the crossing. The zodiac. Look, there's the zodiac. Look, there's fish scales. Basically represent the ether. I'll do a video on that sooner or later. What's under those scales? Down into Amente. As we get into the Duat, check out my earlier videos. The scales of fishes. Really, a similar thing here. See, you see, these are the the ancient trees they talk about. See, some go that way, and then some come this way. The pines or the conifers or whatever. Cedars, Lebanon, cedars of Lebanon. Find out etymology of Lebanon. So what's under? It's under here. It's under there. What's under there? What's under this as it goes up? This is a representation of the ecliptic plane, because that's how it operates. Up and in, down and out, like a jellyfish or bird's wings. Bird's wings only a 2D type image, but the jellyfish, right around, down and out. It's the southern hemisphere summer, solstice. Right up here is the northern solstice, June is it? June. Up and down. What's happening underneath there? While you're up here in the northern summer, what's happening down here? That's what this is all about. The scales. How the ether flows. It's like a wave. I'll do a video on that soon. For us it symbolises reconciliation. We think that's a powerful message when it's sitting opposite the Ten Commandments. That's where they're moving the monument. Breasts. Levi's BAPHOMET was a hermaphrodite with breasts, but we took the breasts off, says Greaves. The temple did not want to get embroiled in a debate about gender, which might distract from what it believes are the more important messages of the BAPHOMET. Instead, he says the boy and girl reflect that male-female duality seen in Levi's BAPHOMET. The male and female aspect, the unification. Looks a bit weird like that, but you've got to understand the true meaning. Okay, so that was that. That's a 2-part video, everybody. So, it's just understanding its true meaning. It's a divine symbol. I'm not a Freemason, okay? I don't like what they're doing in this world. They're running. The Freemasons down here have got no idea what the Freemasons at the top of the pyramid are doing. They're evil. They've taken control. They've suckered all the Freemasons in. We're all suckered. Most people are, I'm not. Even all those Freemasons down there are all suckered. They don't even know what they're following and worshipping. They don't know the evilness that's happening at the top. That top degree. 33, maybe even beyond the 33. You just look at the Great Pyramid of Khufu. You know, you can see you got the 33 degrees here. Well, what's up here? The sun? Or these devils? The black... Let's not get into the black sun, because that's a bit of a story too. You know, there's no bright light. There should be, there is, but these evil buggers, they're at the top. You know, they're beyond this. Evil. They're running our system. Now. Okay. Oh, understand. Do I go over that? Why it's upside down? Inverted? Because it's a dual system. That's why I spoke about that. The inversion of earth from creation, heaven and earth inverted. Okay. Understand the magnetic field. Go check out my earlier videos. Two-way drift, which creates a straight way and your zenith. At your zenith. The two movements, the two systems creates the radial, excuse me, and axial. We'll leave it there, guys. Okay, cheers.